Good evening. I'm Cherry Gregg, and thank you for joining us for WHYY's Lifelong Learning Award presentation. Tonight, we will be honoring one of Philadelphia's own basketball great, Dawn Staley, a woman who has made us all proud both on and off the court.
Coach Staley,
our main event this
welcome.
evening will be an interview with Dawn
honoring us
Staley
with
and
your
Fresh
presence.
Air's Terry Gross, which will begin shortly. But first, Dawn Staley is a champion and inspiration to many. She has been an example of excellence in everything she touched. Take a look.
Whether it's basketball, whether it's life, her community, she wants it right, and she's going to demand that. And that comes from that competitive spirit that she has. If we're out here, we're not out here to roller skate, we're out here to play and to win.
She's basically Allen Iverson before Allen was Allen Iverson because she was just so scrappy.
She took her knocks when she was a kid because she played with the boys.
She just got that Philly toughness. No jokes about nothing. She played hard.
Mustang pride. She's a Mustang through and through.
Like most of us, her beginnings are humble.
She's from the same neighborhood I am, like a few blocks away, and I always knew she was going to be successful.
I'm proud that she's not denying where she came from and acknowledging every part of her steps.
And all the things she's achieved, being a female, period, and a black female.
She has represented Dobbins to the fullest and represented our community to the fullest, and I love that.
As a high school player, she was an All-American, a collegiate player, an All-American, a gold medal Olympian.
I mean, it's like God touched her along the way from birth.
I coached with her for 2 years here at Temple before she moved. I think everybody, first of all, had this unbelievable respect for her. And then she had this special relationship with John Chaney. I would talk to him often about Dawn and the kind of impact she had made in college basketball, in the city of Philadelphia.
She's taken whatever she's had and used it to benefit not only herself, but girls basketball, women coaches, everything that she's been doing.
Nobody really knew much about South Carolina's basketball program until Dawn got down there. And she's obviously taken that to another level.
It's an inspiration to me, like, dang, maybe I could do that too.
She enjoys coming home and seeing everybody.
She walks into a room and you notice, and she's 5'5". She's not real tall or walking in here with a bunch of sizzle. She's walking in here with this great substance that really means something to so many.
There's no pretense. There's no attempt to be somebody different than whom she is. And that, I think, is classic Philly.
Philadelphia is so proud of Dawn Staley for what she has accomplished.
Dawn Staley, please come forward and receive the honorary degree.
This is a tremendous honor, but I have to tell you, their first option was the best scholar, but this best scholar was busy. Their second option was the best athlete, and of course the best athlete was busy. Their third option was the best looking. And I said, what the heck, I can't turn them down 3 times in a row. That joke works every time.
She has it. Whatever it is, she's got it.
I am so happy to say that our guest, Dawn Staley, Coach Staley, is with us. Coach Staley, welcome. Thank you for honoring us with your presence this evening.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to it.
It is an honor. I want to talk about you. First of all, I want to say congratulations on your second championship win with the Gamecocks. I want to talk about you, but I first want to say something about Brittney Griner, which is to say I want you to say something about Brittney Griner. She is still detained in Russia. Her detainment has been extended again. I assume that you know her. I know you've been really advocating in every way that you can for more attention to her detainment and everything that can be done for her release. Tell us a little bit. We know she's a fantastic player. Tell us a little bit about who she is as a person.
Brittney Griner, I mean, she's wrongly detained. Our U.S. State Department has determined that, but who Brittney Griner is, I mean, she's a fun-loving person. She's a giver. I know one of the foundations that she birthed is giving shoes to young people, because she was walking down the street in Phoenix and saw someone that was barefoot. So she got out of her car, opened up the trunk of her car and started giving out sneakers to this person. And from that, she's been a giver. I've known her for a little under 10 years now. So I've watched her grow. I've watched her mature. I've watched her become this incredible person. I know everybody knows Brittney Griner for her ability to dominate on the basketball court, but she is as dominating in her community and giving back more so than any other player in the WNBA that I've been associated with.
Well, thank you for the work you're doing trying to get her released. Let's talk about you. You've reached the heights as a player and as a coach, but when you were first asked to be a coach at Temple University, as we heard, you turned them down. Why were you so reluctant to coach, given that you've got such a gift for it, as you later learned?
Well, I think sometimes when you are, and have been, and that was me at that time, I was singularly focused on my career as a player. I was 29 years old. I was still playing professional basketball. And then I get this opportunity, of coaching. And I was probably more afraid of being responsible for young people that's closer to my age than anything. So the responsibility part of it really just frightened me just a little bit. And then I was actually challenged into taking the job at Temple. And quite naturally, I'm drawn to challenges. And once I was faced with that challenge, it was a foregone conclusion of taking a job and just creating experiences for young people at a delicate age of their lives, in the most transformational years of their lives, and make it good through life lessons of winning at basketball.
When did you first become obsessed with basketball?
Here's the thing. I played all types of sports when I was growing up in the projects. I played football, like tackle football. I played baseball. I played softball. I ran track. I did it all. So I was more in love with competition. And then when I first received my first college letter of interest was in the 8th grade. And that's when I chose basketball, because I knew it would be that sport that could be the vehicle to incredible opportunities to check off some more dreams. Because growing up in the projects, I've only seen women play. I'd only seen women play during the Olympic Games and during the national championship in the NCAA tournament. So I wanted to be a national champion, and I wanted to be a gold medalist.
Done and done.
Yeah, a few times. So
yeah.
Again, my cup runneth over.
So you grew up in the Raymond Rosen housing projects in North Philly. Tell us a little bit what the projects were like then, and you grew up in the 70s and 80s.
For me, the projects was a way of life. Like I didn't see myself as poor. My family didn't see ourselves as poor. I mean, we saw ourselves as working class people who worked hard. Like I grew up in the projects, but I mean, it was incredibly clean.
These were garden apartments, not a high rise.
No, yeah. Here's the thing: all of my siblings that are older than me, they had an experience in the high rises. I've never had an experience of living in the high rises. So I think of myself as a little more bougie, because the row homes are a little more plush than going through, the high rises. So we had lawns, we had neighbors. My mom planted flowers and they bloomed and everything looked like great. My mom, although my mom had to clean houses for other people in order to make ends meet, but it was a job. And my mom did it to the best of her ability. She cleaned people's houses like a boss, like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So, I come from a strong woman who just believed in doing things the right way, no matter what it was. So I just, I thank God for my mother because she's a disciplinarian. Like I feared my mother. Like I did not want to disappoint her.
So there's a kind of famous story about you that when you were a kid and you wanted to play with the boys, you'd bring your own basketball and tell them that if they wanted to use the basketball, they had to let you play. Okay, so that was your in. But then what? Did they make it especially hard for you? How do they feel about playing with a girl? Because I know for a lot of boys, that would be considered like lowering themselves in some way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're not welcoming at all. They weren't welcoming, and they shouldn't have been. I mean, I think you should be skeptical. If one girl is showing up to play, you don't know what her motives are. So they treated me just like a newcomer. Like just because I was a girl, I wasn't treated any differently. I was treated like a newcomer. Like if it was a new guy that showed up to the court, they're not going to be welcoming to that person unless they prove themselves. Now, because I'm a girl, they're not going to give me an opportunity to prove myself unless I bring my own ball to the court and hope that everybody else forgets to bring theirs.
Yeah, because I imagine they would initially think that they could take advantage of you, that you'd be weaker than the boys. And again, especially being short, for the game, they probably thought that too.
You know what? Here's the thing. I mean, when I was growing up, I was actually the same height as the guys that I was playing against. It was just they kept growing as they got older, and I didn't. So it wasn't that I was that much smaller than them. It's just I didn't grow. I'm a product of short parents.
It was in middle school that you were first scouted by a college. And then you went to college. Well, you did great in high school. I think USA Today named you like Player of the Year. And so again, in high school, were you on a boys team or a girls team or a mixed team?
Finally in high school, we had a girls team.
What was that like for you, suddenly playing with girls after being like the girl in the boys' games?
Yeah, playing with girls was a lot easier because of my ability to play with guys. Like I was faster, stronger. I was I passed the ball a lot harder than girls my age because I had to with the guys. I mean, they were just quicker. They were a little taller. They covered the court a lot better. So I was the one that had to make an adjustment because I was the one that was a lot different than most of the girls on my team because this was not their first time playing with girls.
I read that at UVA, it was the first time you were really in an atmosphere, an environment where there are a lot of white people. You weren't used to that. Can you talk a little bit about the transition going from, living in the housing projects in North Philly to being at UVA?
Yeah, the housing projects that I grew up in, I mean, it was probably 99.9% Black. And then I go to UVA, and it's the first time that, I'm outnumbered as far as, Black versus white or any other, race. And although, I was a very shy young person. Like I didn't talk a whole lot. I wasn't open to making new friends. I mean, I'm from Philly. I'm from North Philly. We just kind of stay in our lanes, and we don't, you know, we don't, we don't go outside of our comfort zone, unless someone comes into our comfort zone. And for me, going to Virginia was a huge step outside of my comfort zone, and it took me a while to make the adjustment to being in that environment. I didn't do well in school in the beginning, because I didn't know how to study. I wasn't comfortable. And then, when I was threatened with getting kicked out of school, that's when my competitiveness kicked in. Like I never reverted to my competitiveness until I was challenged in that way. And then I tapped into being a competitor. So I looked at academics a lot differently once I had to. And, after that moment at UVA, I became a much better student. And then I got used to just the system of being in that environment. You got to adjust. You got to be able to pivot. You got to be able, if it's something that you really want to do, like if I didn't really want to be at Virginia, win a national championship, being in that space, I would have given up. But I wanted to be in that space, and that's the thing that really drove me to doing better.
How did you go from being inexpressive, not making eye contact, being kind of introverted, just expressing yourself through the game, to being a coach where you really have to communicate with people? I mean, you're probably part psychologist and therapist as well as, basketball coach, and you're probably shouting on the sidelines during the game. I mean, you have to be more extroverted and communicative as a coach.
I'm a self-prescribed dream merchant. Like that's what I call myself, a dream merchant. And in order for you to be a dream merchant for the people that I serve, like I have to be the example. And I have years and years and years and years of my own shortcomings, to be shy, to be closed, to have all these things and to have overcome them. I mean, I just try to set the example of transforming like my life into something that is an example for young people. I mean, was it easy? No, it really wasn't easy. And I find that just through my life, being uncomfortable, I found a way to grow. And I give that to our players. Like I am like I'll give you an example. Most of the players that I coach, their parents, they don't want them to hurt. Like they don't want them to be unhappy. They don't want them to go through life hurting or failing, should I say. Failing. Bad game, bad grade, just break up with your boyfriend. Like their parents don't want them to go through that. And I am the direct opposite of their parents. Like I want them to do that. I want you to break up, have a breakup. I want you to have a bad game. I want you to fail a test. Because from those moments, growth is taking place. You find a way to not have those repeat performances in those stages of your life. So sometimes my players, they struggle with me because I don't treat them like their parents treat them.
That's interesting. Of course, you want them to win. you do want them to win. I want them to win. Yeah.
Yeah, winning. This game of life isn't, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not going to win a marathon in the first mile of it, you know, but slowly you find a way to adjust and you pivot and you figure things out along the way. It's a long journey. And throughout your journey, you're going to fail. You're going to have some shortcomings. It is the very thing that you do to figure life out, to make things better. And then you share those instances with other people and hope that they can learn from your mistakes and your shortcomings, so they won't fall prey to that. They'll fall prey to something else.
So our time is nearly up, but I just want you to like play back a moment for us. You know, one of the greatest honors for an athlete is to play at the Olympics, and at the Olympics, one of the greatest honors is to be the flag bearer. When all the athletes march to the opening ceremony, and you were the flag bearer. Can you just tell us how that felt?
I seriously equate it to, you know, the flag bearer as being in a royal wedding. Like, you know, anytime there's a royal wedding going on, all eyes, no matter what country you're in or from, you're watching that wedding. And for me, it was that to be the first one to come through the tunnel of an Olympic stadium during the opening ceremonies. And I will say this, the practices that I had, like, or I wouldn't even say I didn't have any practice, but when they, you know, when I had to talk to the people about what needs to happen as a flag bearer, they told me that no matter how you're received, because they could boo you, they could hiss you, they could cheer you, no matter how you're received, make sure you hold the flag up high and don't let it dip. So when I walked through that, you know, through the tunnel and onto the track, I heard nothing but cheers. And it was the proudest moment, because it wasn't a moment in which, you know, I don't know if there are a whole lot of athletes out there that say when they're starting out that I want to be the flag bearer of an Olympic Games. So, and that wasn't something that it was a goal of mine. It was just, again, it's my cup runneth over once again, because I love basketball, and basketball has been an incredible way, a gift that keeps on giving. But it also shows me when you're dedicated to something and when you're all into something, you get incredible things that occur in your life that you had no idea, that you couldn't imagine. So I'm just happy to have experienced that, and it's an experience like no other.
I hope your mother was alive to see it.
My mother was definitely alive to see it, and they had a watch party.
Good. Coach Staley, it's just been such a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for being with us. Greatly appreciate that. And, I wish you many more championships.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I'm proud to be from North Philly for the strength it gave and the mental toughness it instilled. I am certain a good amount of my success is directly related to how and where I grew up. And I'm also extremely proud to stand here as a model for young people who falsely believe where they're from limits where they can go.
Joining me now is Maestro Louis Scaglione from the Philadelphia Youth Orchestra Music Institute. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we are here to honor Coach Dawn Staley, and we all know she's all about young people. So with that in mind, tell us what we're going to hear.
A piece inspired by African rhythms and harmonies, which we'll hear. It's a very upbeat piece. And it's performed by our Bravo Brass, which is in its 25th year, and we're happy to celebrate the life and achievement of a great person through music.
Please enjoy, and thank you so much for being here tonight. Introducing the Bravo Brass.